Hi, I'm Terry Farr, the Executive Director for the Greater Picayune Area Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to welcome you to Chamber Conversations, where I have conversations with business owners and employees. Today I'm meeting with Bill Cruse. Bill is an attorney here in Picayune. His office is located at 1016 6th Avenue, Suite A, again here in Picayune. Bill's practice, his firm is Picayune Law, and he is an attorney. He also is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. He's actually the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and he also is one of our 18 sponsors. So we appreciate all that he's doing for us. I guess I should say that Bill is a father and you got three kids and happily married. So welcome, Bill. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule visiting with me today.
Thank you, Terry. I'm glad to do it.
Good. Well, what I want to do is some of the listening audience may not know everything that they'd like to know about Bill Cruse or Picayune Law. So can you give us a little background where you grew up and where you went to school, K through 12, college, and I'm assuming you went to law school. Could you give us a little
Kind of. No, I grew up out at Anchor Lake here in Carrier. Went to elementary and middle school out at Carrier before coming to Picayune for junior high and high school. Graduated at Picayune, then I went to PRC and got an associate's there and went to Mississippi College, where I got a bachelor's in chemistry because I wanted to take over my dad's store over at Fred's West Side. Changed my mind on that, got a job for a year, and went to law school again at MC, and spent 3 more years there, and got out and started working in Jackson. I spent about 10 years in Jackson total between school and work, and decided it was time to come home, and came back in 15 and ended up about baseball throw from my mama. So
good deal. So what made you, at what point did you decide you wanted to be an attorney? I mean, that was sort of like from this side to this side. That's a pretty big swing.
There's a little more in the story. The first job I got was with the church, and I grew up at my dad's store, which originally was here and then over on Kirkwood. And from the beginning, everything we were ever taught was customer service. Take care of the person in front of you. And then I went to work in the Episcopal Church, and I worked with kids, I worked with teenagers, and I liked it, but it wasn't what I was going to do forever.
Yeah.
I knew an attorney here in town, Buddy McDonald. I knew an attorney up in Jackson, Luther Ott, that I was pretty close with both of them. And I liked the idea of getting things done, of problem solving and working out issues. And so that's when I kind of decided to go to law school.
Yeah.
In there was also that first year where I worked was 2005. I spent a ton of time working on the coast instead of in Jackson. And so a lot of those issues came up. When it was time to come home, opportunity opened again with Buddy McDonald about 10 years after the first conversation, and then he became a judge, and I decided to go out on my own.
Yeah, good deal. So I went to college. I only went to 4 years of college, and for me it was pretty intense. But so how intense really is law school? I mean, was that like a major, you just had to study all the time, or did that just come sort of easy to you? You didn't have to study, or?
Law school didn't come easy to anybody. No one I've ever met, at least. Law school was 8 to 10 hours a day at the school, study sessions afterwards. It's about 300 pages, 200 to 300 pages to read a night. Everything is brand new. The way you think is brand new. You don't really talk about a tort in your daily life, but you get to live 3 years of tort. You get to learn, the civil government and the local government and all, just things that growing up you don't talk about. It's not, hey, let's balance a checkbook. It was a whole different thing. And then the real fun part of it is that you were graded against your peers. So it could be the best thing you've ever done. If 20 people did better than you, you got a C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
yeah. They call it grading on the curve?
yeah, it was a true curve. And so, it was intense. It was hard. But you want it to be hard. If you got a lawyer who didn't have a hard law school, then they may not be ready, because every case is somebody's life, somebody's money,
right.
and you got to be ready to go.
Well, as a side note, I don't know who all will be watching our conversation, but I'm going to say this. If you have children that are in school, I'm going to recommend, especially since all of these interviews, these conversations are G-rated, and there's no foul language in anything we're going to ever be talking about here, but I would recommend to you to let your children watch this, because sometimes they don't hear what they need to hear. Speaking of that, what was it in college, in law school, that they did not teach you? There are probably several things, but what's the main one thing that they didn't teach you that you wish that maybe had one or two, semesters?
What I primarily specialize in is closings, which means I do as much work with the bank as the legal side. It's making sure the property is good, that there are no problems with the properties, but it's also making sure that the loan meets its requirements, and all of that works together. Now, my property law classes focused on property fights. What happens when you and your neighbor don't know where the property line is, or what happens when surveys are wrong, those type things. What happens to your property when you die? And so that's what I did, property law in law school. Now, I got lucky. I worked for a guy named John Fike, and all he had me doing was searching legal records. Searching legal records is the least glamorous thing a lawyer can do. But what I do for a living is search legal records and work with banks to make sure the house is good to go, the person who's buying the house isn't going to have a problem, and that all the finances are there. My property professor probably spent 30 minutes on that part of property law. Now, when I go to court, I can list cases and all of those type things, but the majority of what I do is not court.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, I know you, or I think you do, like to get up early in the morning and start your day out sooner than most people. So what gets you excited? I know you own your business, so you better be excited, but what gets you excited, truly excited about, hot dog, I get to go to work today? What's something that fires you up?
There's not one specific thing. I just like doing what I do. I like people, and I like problems, and I like accomplishing things. And that's what I do every day. And so I really enjoy it. I like to go out and talk. And so if I'm not here on top of something, I'm out in the community, either coaching or at an event or doing something social. And that folds into my job, because if I don't know people, then people aren't coming to me.
Right.
And so I'm happy, because what I like to do is what I do.
Yeah.
And so it's not a specific thing, it's the whole thing.
All right. So there's not just one thing that, well, I'll re-ask the question. Is there one thing that if you could do this one thing all day long and let your staff, which I understand you got a great staff, but if there was one thing that you could do all day long and they do the rest of the stuff, what would that one thing be?
Sit in that closing room and talk to people.
Cool.
Talk to people who are buying a first home, talk to people who are buying a second home, or trying investment properties, and because we're going through all their stuff, they have a million things being thrown at them legally, banking wise, and just going through all of it and making sure they know what they're getting into and that everything's right, and they walk out of here with a new set of keys and are happy.
There you go. Now, I know you've mainly talked about real estate closings, and that's pretty much my background in mortgage banking and banking, but law has so many specialties and areas. Are you doing other things too? I mean, I know, again, you got a good staff, so are you?
Yeah, we do a lot of business formation, which is akin to property. It's making sure people are set up right, making sure their documentation's right, making sure if they get into problems down the road that they have everything they need to where if they do get sued, their personal home, their personal assets aren't liable. I spend a lot of time doing estate planning, writing wills, writing trust, and doing probate, which is after someone dies, and all the legal requirements of going to court afterwards. I have staff. We're gearing up. We're going to have a new attorney coming in this summer who likes to litigate. He likes fights. He likes insurance claims and things like that. And so we'll be adding that to the firm. It's just not my cup of tea. I'd rather, I've said it already. I like the problem and getting it done, not to drag it out and fight over it. Right. Really the common thread of what I do is I'm working with somebody in a transition, somebody with something big going on that is not something that's going to happen time and time again that they need help to do and to navigate. And so that's where I kind of gravitate towards.
Again, our listening audience could be somebody that's thinking about going in business for themselves, or maybe is an employee and wants to do something on the side, have their own business, or again, maybe an employee that says, I really want to start my own business. So have you got any tips for that person? And do you think that Pearl River County is a good place to start a business and grow a business?
There's a lot of questions at once.
Yep.
Pearl River County, I'll start there. It's a great place to start a business and grow a business, especially if you already know people here. And that's kind of who we're talking to today, I think. There are about 60,000 people in the county. Right. And then you have people in Hancock County, and you got the North Shore. If you're willing to get up and go to work, there's money to be made. There are services that are needed. There are businesses that are needed. Mm-hmm. There's inventory that needs to be sold. There are things to do. Now, you got to work. It is work. I'm here 7 a.m. I'm here late. I go to ball games and then come back afterwards. I mean, it's a different lifestyle if you're going to do it on your own. Right. But there is plenty to do. No matter what your talent is, or what your passion is, or what you're good at, there's plenty to do. As far as advice from what I did, and how I do what I do, I spend lots of time making sure I know what I'm doing. I look at everything I can possibly find to know if this is going to be a good decision or not, and then once I make a decision, I go full speed until I realize I've made the wrong decision, or realize this is working well, and I fine tune everything constantly. I'm constantly saying, is this the best way to do this? Is there a better way to do it? Yeah. And we keep moving and keep going. But yeah, being your own business owner is all kinds of fun. Yeah. Now you will find out you have vast limitations. You got to surround yourself with good people real quickly. So.
Right. Well, and you've done that. You've done a great job there. So, can you think of any question that I haven't asked you, that I should have asked you, that maybe you think the listening audience needs to know something else, or you got any final words?
Well, I mean, you could ask questions all day, so I'll answer that one.
Yeah.
But as far as final words, this is a great place to be. I hope you enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, hope you ask yourself why, and find some people that can meet those needs, because they're here. I came home to be with the people I was with, and to work with the people I'm with now. And if you can look around and go, these are some great people, you can find something to do, to work hard, to make this community better, and then you'll find a whole lot more great people right behind it. Right. And so that's been my experience. It's been everyone I talk to within the chamber, that's their experience too, is once you get in this and really start mixing it up and start going out and introducing yourself, you find one person after another who's great, who's willing to help, even though it is business and there's competition, but there are all kinds of partnerships and mentorships and out there that are waiting on you.
Good deal. Well, I appreciate you visiting with me today, and I know you got a full schedule today, so we'll wrap this up. I do appreciate y'all viewing, and if you can find. If there's a button somewhere on this that you can say you like it and you did like it, hey, please do that. Again, share it with anybody, whether they're a member of the chamber or not. We'll be doing more of these conversations, and so if you've got any suggestions, please let us know. And also too, if you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do that. We'll be putting this interview out on several of our social media platforms. So I appreciate y'all tuning in, and make it a great day.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.